Hello everyone and welcome back to the Drivers Room Acelith Design Endurance Championship Season 6 Round 5 Tier 3. So today we are at Mount Panorama or Bathurst in the Group 1 machines. So let's take a quick look at the grid and let's get this show on the road. Gary in first and Mr. Kusker in second. We have a returnee in Comrade Mitzos. Swillerb is returning. And we have that guy Revs, Frogman, Jason Haldir, Glover Barnett, Murkoff, Craig, and Ricky J in the back. Alright, let's get on with it. Alright, here we go. Round 5, Tier 3. And we are off, and Gary's in the Bugatti. Let's see if it serves him a little better this day than it did in Blue Moon, as we saw someone go off in the back. I think might have been Craig, don't know. As Gary has had an amazing start in the Bugatti. And Lerb is also had an amazing start in the Audi. Of course, the Audi is the best starter out there. We have Merck in fourth with Frog in the fifth and Kusker all the way down in sixth. Wow! He just got passed up, didn't he? Let's hope the Tomahawk can bring him back, as we see Frog going off on the dirt. And gonna keep up with Gary for the moment. As we see the Gary man going down the straight. I always forget the, I think it's the Conroad Straight. But as always, my knowledge with the corner names and straight names and all that, yeah, I just can't seem to remember. There's too many in the world, and just simply too many for my little fragile brain to remember. As we see, Gary is setting out a commanding lead in first, with Lerb in second now, trying to chase down the mighty Chiron. But will he be able to? That's the question. There we go. He smashed the car into sixth gear, and that's when the Audi dies. As we see Revs finally back into a podium position for the moment, and he must be ecstatic with that for right now. Let's hope he can keep that car on track, because the Hyundai is quite a temperamental little S-bomb box. As we see, Kusker has managed to crawl himself back into fourth. Will he be able to steal Revs' third and even Lerbs' second? That remains to be seen, but he is driving like he has no tomorrow, and he wants to get that podium back, perhaps even a first place. As we come back with Merck in the mighty Chiron, and we have Jason in the Peugeot, which seems to be a very good car around this track. I remember Mr. Jules in Tier 2 giving me a run for my money, that's for sure. I was in the Tomahawk, he was in the hybrid monster of the Peugeot. And yeah, as we see, someone has gone off. And Revs, oh no, the bad luck is just with Revs all the time right now. taking a look back with Revs, we go on board with the man. What in the world happened? Did he miss his braking point? Did he get... Oh, he just cut the grass a little bit. Oh, that's not something you want to see in a GR1 car. Come down the braking point. He has a lot of grounds to catch up on now. Ah, such a bad luck for Revs. As we see Barnett in 8th. We have Craig in 9th. Let's hope he can have just as good of a race as he did in Blue Moon. But then again, I think Craig is not a big fan of Bathurst. And we have Ricky J in 10th with Frogman. He has probably been off somewhere in that unruly Alpine. Coming back to Gary, he is losing a little bit of ground down to Lerb. Lerb is catching up. Lerb has something to prove. He really wants a win. Lerb is on the hunt for Gary. Going on board with Mr. Lerb's car. Downhill, the 6th gear isn't much of a problem. Uphill, it is a killer. You see when he pushes 6th gear uphill, the car just dies. As we see Cusker is closing in. He has got something to prove. Mitzos has had a little bad start, I think, but is coming back to it. Has had a few seasons off, hasn't had the time to race in the Thursdays, so he had to back off and then managed to get back for the final half of the season. So let's hope Mitzos can grab a good result in today's race. Halder in 5th has gotten himself ahead of Merc. That hybrid monster just is a little bit too much for the Bugatti. As we see, Revs is trying to gain lost time. Oh, as he goes into the wall. Just trying to catch up with the Bugatti in front. Barnett, not having a good day at the office so far. Just trying to stay out of trouble. Craig now, trying also to stay out of trouble, I would assume. Ricky, as he goes down the back straight. Frogman has not had a very good race. Usually find him in the top 5, and now he's below top 10. So it has not been a good race for the Frogman today. As we come back to Gary and the Swede, my fellow countryman. I just hope the borders can be open soon and I can go back to Svinesund and buy some snacks and buy some more vanilla cokes. And meet the Swedish people again once the crisis in the world has been dealt with and all the vaccines have been effective or if they work. Lurb is on the hunt, but then again, his tires are starting to run off quite a bit. The Audi is not nice to his tires at all, particularly the front ones. So we come back with Cusker, who has caught up quite a bit. And we see Gary into the pits already. What? His tires weren't that gone. But now he'll have the slipstream of Lurb. Take a look on board with Gary. Oh, as we see Lurb spinning in the dangerous downhill corner. Oh. Taking a look back with Lurb now. Oh, what in the world happened? I think the car just oversteered into the braking zone. Yeah. Just the bump in that downhill section is just too much for the Audi. Or maybe he was just too fast down there. The car couldn't keep its balance. Oh man, Lurb's gotta be screaming in the helmet of that car right now. Punching the wheel like a certain YouTuber we know. Not saying the name, but we all know who I mean when he punches his wheel and has had traded a lot of wheels because he's been too violent to them. As we see Lurb going into the pits, Cusker following suit. Now, oh, and we have a very slow Lurb into the pits. Cusker right on his heels. Let's see who gets out first. Lurb still gets out first with what? He gets a 2.5 second penalty for what? Huh. Coming down to Mitsos. Still trying to catch up with the top three. Jason doing good in 5th. Just reeling that car in. Merc in 6th in the Chiron. Barnett in the 7th now. Revs down into 8th. Not having the best day at the office. Frog has gotten himself up into 9th, but still he hasn't been into the pits. Craig in 10th, and we have lost Ricky to mechanical failure. Oh no. Pinkmobile has had to retire as we follow Craig up the hill. Going back to Lurb and Cusker boy to see if Cusker can reel in the Swede. As we see a yellow flag and Gary's been off. What? No, 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 no. What in the world happened to Gary? We are going to find out at this moment. What in the world? Oh, he just clipped the grass. The same thing as Revs did. Just the same as Revs did. And he goes off at almost 250 kilometers an hour. He's just lucky he didn't hit the wall. And that puts Gary down into third. Oh, Gary's got to be screaming at that car right now. He's got to be screaming at the guys that made the track as well. He's probably saying nice words in German. Not that I know any German words, except for what the Führer once said, but I am not saying those words because they are racist, and we are not going that way. As we see, Kusker is right on the butt of Lerb. Lerb is trying to push the car as much as he can, but up in this section, the Audi is considerably vulnerable because of the front wheels spinning a lot faster than the rears. It's not a consistent four-wheel drive system at all in the Audi. You have to be so careful on the gas. It's like driving a front-wheel drive car in GR4. You just have to be so gentle with the throttle not to torch those fronts off. But this is where the Audi will excel, and the hybrid's gone. As we see, Gary is closing in on Lerb, but just isn't enough down here. I think Kusker needs to find a way through in the first or last sector. Maybe hope for Lerb to have a little unfortunate spin again. As we see, during this stage, the Audi is just too powerful with the hybrid system. But then the hybrid system goes and there's nothing left. Maybe Kusker can count on trying to overtake him on the uphill, where the Audi has lost its hybrid and 6th gear will kill the car. But there's just no room for Kusker to get past. As we see Halder into the pits. Kusker's just doing everything in his skill box to pass Lerb. We're not going to switch away from these two at the moment. It's just too exciting. I know there might be a few battles on the rest of the track, but right now the battle for first is the most interesting. We need to follow this battle for the moment. I know I say for the moment for a lot of times, but whew. And again we see Lerb's car just taking off like a rocket down the hill. The hybrid system is so damn strong. How is Kusker going to how is he going to do this? He needs to find the kink in the armor somewhere. But where will he find it? Where can he find it? As we see again, Kusker has his hybrid just helping him along to start finish straight. There's just nothing Kusker can do. Kusker going very wide out of turn 1. And yet again, Lerb is just pulling away uphill. I think the thing Kusker might be trying to hope for is that Lerb's tire just die off before his. As we see, Craig has been off. Taking a look back with my junior teammate, what in the world happened to Craigie boy? Oh, just goes into and gets oversteer. Oh, I've done that a lot too, so at least Craig isn't alone with that. As we come back to Lerb and Kusker boy. We're gonna just quickly drop down the field because it looks like the gap between Kusker and Lerb has opened up a little bit. Gary in third, trying to regain some lost time, as we see Mitzos with a 5.4 second penalty. He's really been hammering the penalties, hasn't he? As we see Craig off again, and I think Mitzos got distracted, or maybe Craig's car just unghosted in the wrong time. Holder in the 5th, we have Merck in 6th, Glove in 7th, and Revs in 8th. Frogman in 9th, and Craig is probably screaming to his wheel, to the car, to Theodore, and not having the best day at the job. As we see what Cusker is in. What happened with Lerb? Did he spin? Oh no, he just understeered into the S. And already he goes into the pits. Huh? His tires weren't that bad, so... I'm a little stumped. I don't really know what to say. Coming back on lap 16, we have Jason still in 5th. We have Lerb all the way down into 4th. Huh. We have Gary in 3rd with Mitzos in 2nd. Mitzos still hasn't been into the pits, so he needs to go in and change some tires very soon. Cusker is just running away with it right now. He's doing good. As we see, Craig has parked it in the pits. He's had enough. He's left the cockpit. As we see Frog in 9th. Merck and Revs into the pits with Glove Barnett in 8th right now. He has a fresh set of Supersoft and some fuel to his disposal. Jason Lerb must have had a big accident again somewhere. He's all the way down into 4th. So it just ain't Lerb's day today. As we see Mitzos under attack from Gary. Gary, of course, has fresh tires on. There's nothing really Mitzos could do. As we see Mitzos being passed by Gary and Mitzos going into the pits. Mitzos taking on fuel. As we see Lerb passing the pit lane there. Mitzos taking on a hell of a lot of fuel. That should last him towards the end. The Hyundai is quite good on the fuel, so it shouldn't use too much. And Lerb is back into 3rd. He has lost a very big chunk of time and distance up to Gary. The Audi just isn't cut out for short corners like this. Tortures the tires too much, and yeah. I've never driven it in a full season, so I can't really say much about the Audi, other than the engine sound is amazing to listen to, and the car is a stunningly beautiful car. As we see Gary in the red Chiron, just hammering down the throttle. I don't think he will be able to catch up to Cusker though, but that's That's not going to stop him from trying. Beautiful sound from that V16. I think it's a V16. Cusker is unstoppable, just stayed out of trouble, kept his head down, and made the car work for him instead of against him. And he's doing well so far in first. The Tomahawk looks planted, and it looks like Cusker has a pretty good handle on the Hawk. And Craig has parked it. I think Mighty Jerry is not happy about that. See him on the back wing. As we come back to Frog, who is about to be lapped by Gary. Not about to make that easy for him, I think. Or maybe he just does. Oh, no, he doesn't make it easy. He has a blue flag. He has to let him through. Which he does unwillingly, but that's them's the rules. That puts Gary maybe a little bit closer to Cusker, albeit just a little, or maybe a little bit further away. Barnett has a still good-looking car, so a little bit scratches on the left side, but other than that, looks like he's got a decent control of the Hyundai. As we come back to Merc, looks like he has a pretty decent control of the Bugatti. ...327 kilometers an hour before he hits the brakes. The speeds these cars just reach is... Whew. As we have revs in the electric mobile or hydrogen mobile. Had such a good start to his race and then just went downhill when he spun into the gravel. The gravel trap did its job and kept him away from the walls. Jason has also just kept his head down and rocked on in the fifth. Must be a little bit boring on track, but yeah, he's got a grip on this one. Mitzos is slightly catching up to Gary, I think. No. He's catching up to Lerb as Lerb goes into the pits again. Those tires fall off fast. As we see, Lerb will take up the hunt for third again. Mitzos will have to be careful. There's a big, angry, hungry German Audi coming in the back. Gary is looking low on fuel now. He will have to go in to the pits within the next few short laps. Looks like he's got a handle on this. As Cusker is just racing at his own pace, not really pushing it or anything like that. Will Gary go into the pits this lap? He stays out for one more. There we have Mitsos. Lerb is on the hunt. Holder doing what he does best, just staying out of trouble. Revs trying to catch up. He does have the pace, but is it too far? Up to Jason. Merc isn't far behind Revs, to be honest, but does he have enough grunt in that big heavy Chiron to actually catch up? Barnett goes into the pits with a very low amount of fuel. Frog is about to be lapped by Mitsos and Lerb. Craig has still parked it in the pits. So we come back to Gary as he goes into the pits. We have Cusker coming out right behind Barnett, who tries to stay out of the way but goes a little too deep on the grass. As we see Gary's filling up the tank. Coming back on lap 28, we have Barnett in 6th. We have Jason in 5th. And I think we've lost Revs and Merc. I think they've had to retire their cars, which is a shame. There's only 7 on track. Lerb down in 4th. As we see, Mitsos is slowly catching up to Gary. I think we lost Frog too. Yeah. Frog has also retired a car. Merc, Frog, yeah. It's the one we can see that have left the building, unfortunately. Very sad. Cusker has been dominating. As we see Gary trying to not mess up. But the Hyundai in the back is a little bit threatening in the last 8.5 minutes. They should have cleared their final pit stops. Gary has cleared his final one. Cusker has been into the wall, but has cleared his final pit stop. Lerb has also cleared his final one. So he's ready to hunt down the guys in front, but it's a long way up. As we see Jason going into the pits for one final time. Barnett. As we go back to Gary and Mitsos. As Mitzos is inching closer and closer for every lap, for every corner. Let's see what the gap is between Gary and Mitzos. 2.5, 1.8, 25 down to Lurb, 26 up to Cusker. We could end up having a battle in the last few minutes. If Gary just keeps his head down. Gary is trying to push the car as much as possible, but I don't know how well it will work out. Gary's tires are better than Mitzo's, but Mitzo's seems to have a higher pace. Mitzo's just jumping the car over the curb there. Over the crest thingy, curb, yeah. Downhill section. Taking a look at the timing again. It's up to 2.5. So it looks like Mitzo's is losing a little bit in the top part of the mountain, but gaining a little bit on this section. It's down to 2.1. These two are the closest on track, but I don't know if Mitzo's has enough in the tank or in the tires to catch up, unless Gary does a big mistake, as we see Lurb far behind the rest, as we see Jason going into the wall, just tapping it and scratching some paint. Fatigue is starting to show itself. 1 hour racing can be hard, especially on a track like this. You can start making mistakes at the end. Barnett also scratching some paint. Fatigue is showing everywhere at this point. And Craig still hasn't moved. As we come back with Cusker, as he actually goes in for one final pit stop. Huh. Very surprising. As we see, it looks like Gary has carved himself a better lead right now to Mitzo's. Yeah, Mitzo's tires are starting to drop off. He has no chance of catching up. Just doesn't have enough grip to do so. And I think Gary can slow it all a little bit down and just push it back up if Mitzo's inches closer. It's got to be torture for Mitzo's. You can see Gary just ahead of him. Just doesn't have the ability to get any closer. Oh, as he scratches off some paint. Relatively boring race in the end, unfortunately. Not much we can do about that. Such a big track. Jason off in the grass. Ooh. Going dangerous there, Jason. Barnett stayed out of trouble. Nav in 6th. Good points. Oh, and he just skimmed the grass a little bit there and removed the boards. Oh, the other drivers are not going to be happy with that. Oh, wow. The fatigue is really showing, and he's taking himself off track just to let Lerb pass. Oh wow, that was something else. At least he didn't spin, and he just managed to save the car through that. As we follow Cusker now through his final lap. And there we go. We reached the 1 hour mark, and Barnett has finished the race. And good job for Barnett. As you see, Jason and Cusker will be the next ones to finish. Seems like Cusker has really acclimated to the Tomahawk. It is a good car to drive, but it gets owned and chewed out by the hybrid systems. As we congratulate Jason and Cusker on a well-deserved drive. As we see Gary coming down to finish his very last lap. A few more corners to go. And Gary will be finished. Would have had P1 if he didn't spin, but you know, anything can happen in a 1 hour race. And unfortunately, bad luck just followed Gary around today. As we see Lerb coming in to finish off in 4th, and Craig will unfortunately finish in 7th and in the pits. Thank you all for watching. Come back for round 6, and we're nearing the end of 2020's season 6. Bye bye.